Good afternoon, students. Today we are going to see the balance portion with regard to the final accounts of companies. Out of that, final accounts of companies in the sense we see what all things in the previous classes. That is, one is the interest on debenture. Then we need to take utmost care with regard to these items at the time of preparing the final accounts of companies. So what are the other items? One is the tax deducted source, another one is the depreciation, another one is the interest on debenture, advance payment of tax, isn't it? Then dividend declaration and the corporate dividend tax. So almost all the items we cover here, isn't it? So we will see what all are the most part with regard to this. So I'm going to share you with regard to the final accounts of companies. And one more is there, that provision for taxation. That is the one. So we will see, and what is a proposed dividend? In the previous class, we see proposed dividend, interim dividend, and final dividend, and unpaid and unclaimed dividends also. Then we see corporate dividend tax, then reserve and capital, and see. Today we are going to see the differences between what is a reserve and a provision. So a reserve is what? Reserve you study as part of the accumulated profits that is kept as a reserve, either for the expansion purposes or for the which one? ഒന്നെങ്കിൽ expansion വേണ്ടിയിട്ട് അല്ലെങ്കിൽ or for paying the dividend to the shareholders, isn't it? In case of there is no profit situation arises. So that is the reserve. So what is a provision? Provision is a charge against the profit to meet the specific liability in future. ഭാവിയിലേക്ക് എന്തെങ്കിലും ഒരു liability face ചെയ്യണമെങ്കിൽ we need to keep as a provision. So for example, almost all we are giving credit, and most of the cases some of the amounts are not fully received. We need to provide a provision for that one in the P&L books. അതായത് ഒരു ഫൈനാൻഷ്യൽ ഇയറിന്റെ ഏറ്റവും ലാസ്റ്റ് നമ്മൾ എന്ത് ചെയ്തിരിക്കണം? We need to provide a provision. So such a case, what all are the provisions? Provision for doubtful debts is there, provision for discount on debtors is there, provision for discount on creditors is there. Both are the cases. അപ്പോൾ ഒന്ന് കുറച്ച് കൊടുത്താൽ ചിലപ്പം ആ പൈസ നമുക്ക് കിട്ടിയെന്നിരിക്കും, isn't it? അപ്പൊ ആ കുറച്ച് കൊടുക്കുന്ന പാർട്ട് അതെന്താണ്? നമുക്ക് കിട്ടാക്കടമാണ്, കിട്ടത്തില്ല. സോ അത് എഴുതി തള്ളേണ്ടി വരും നമുക്ക്. സോ ആ എഴുതി തള്ളുന്നതിന് അഗേൻസ്റ്റ് നമ്മൾ എന്തെങ്കിലും പ്രോഫിറ്റിന്റെ ഒരു പാർട്ട് എടുത്തു വെക്കുകയാണെങ്കിൽ that is a case of provision. Then we see what are the differences between a reserve and a provision. Reserve is an appropriation of profit that meet any contingency in future. So it is an appropriation, means adding up of profit, isn't it? So reserve is an appropriation of profit to meet any contingency in future, while provision is a charge against the profit to meet any specific liability in future. So reserve is an appropriation of profit, while provision is a charge against the profit. പ്രോഫിറ്റിന്റെ ഒരു ആഡപ്പ് ആണ് റിസർവ്, എന്നാൽ പ്രോഫിറ്റിന് എതിരായിട്ടുള്ള പാർട്ടാണ് എന്ത്? പ്രൊവിഷൻ. അതായത് പ്രോഫിറ്റിൽ നിന്നാണ് നമ്മൾ പ്രൊവിഷൻ കീപ്പപ്പ് ചെയ്യുന്നത്. Then second is reserve is a sum set aside for an unknown liability, while provision is kept for a known liability. നമുക്ക് അറിയാവുന്ന ഒരു ബാധ്യതയെ പറ്റിയാണ് പ്രൊവിഷൻ ഇത് ചെയ്യുന്നത്, എന്നാൽ നമ്മൾ റിസർവ് ചെയ്യുന്നത് എന്തിനെ പറ്റിയാണ്? ഇറ്റ് ഇസ് എ സം സെറ്റ് അസൈഡ് ഫോർ an unknown liability. എന്ന് പറഞ്ഞാൽ നമുക്ക് അറിയാൻ മേലാത്ത ഒരു ബാധ്യത, വരാനിരിക്കുന്ന ഒരു ബാധ്യതയെ കുറിച്ചാണ്. അതായത് എക്സ്പാൻഷൻ പർപ്പസ്, അതൊരു നമുക്ക് ഒരു കീറാമുട്ടി തന്നെയാണ്, അതായത് ഒരു ബാധ്യത, ബിഗ് ബർഡൻ ആണ് ചില കേസിൽ. സോ ദാറ്റ് ഈസ്, സോ റിസർവ് ഈസ് എ സം സെറ്റ് അസൈഡ് ഫോർ an unknown liability, while provision is kept for a known liability. It is the result of the financial policy of a concern, while it is the result of genuine requirement of a business. So it is the result of the financial policy. ഒരു ഫേമിന്റെ സാമ്പത്തികപരമായ അതിനകത്ത് ഉള്ള അതിന്റെ പോളിസിയിലുള്ളതാണ് എന്ത്? അതിൽ കൂടി ഉണ്ടാകുന്നതാണ് ദാറ്റ് ഈസ് ദി റിസർവ്. while a provision is the result of genuine requirement of a business. Then it is the form of accumulated profit, but it is usually in the form of accumulated liability. അതായത് കൂട്ടി വെച്ചിരിക്കുന്ന ബാധ്യതയിൽ നിന്നും ഉടലെടുക്കുന്നതാണ് പ്രൊവിഷൻ, എന്നാൽ കൂട്ടി വെച്ചിരിക്കുന്ന പ്രോഫിറ്റിൽ നിന്ന് ഉടലെടുക്കുന്നതാണ് എന്ത്? റിസർവ്. Reserve is shown on the liability side of the balance sheet, while provision is usually shown as a deduction from the assets concerned. Like debtors, we need to provide some amount as bad debts for the debtors, so we are deducting that one from the asset side, isn't it? Debtors in the കുറച്ചാണല്ലോ നമ്മൾ കാണിക്കുന്നത്. ആ പ്രൊസീജിയർ അതുകൊണ്ടാണ് shown as a deduction from the asset concerned, while shown on the liability side of the balance sheet. And the amount of reserve depends upon the profit of the business, while provision is created even if there is any only loss. So the amount of reserve depends upon the profit of business. Business in the profit in the amount, while provision is created even if there is any loss, only loss. Then financial statement in companies. We are going to the main part, that is the format for a final accounts of companies. Very important this area. According to section 129 of the Companies Act 2013, the financial statement shall give a true and fair view of the state of affairs of the company to comply with the accounting standards notified under section 133 and shall be in the form as may be provided for different classes of the companies in schedule 3. Section 240 of the Companies Act states that financial statement in relation to a company includes the statement of profit or loss, or in the case of a company carrying on any activity not for profit, then an income and expenditure for the financial year to be prepared. So എന്തൊക്കെയാണ് പറഞ്ഞിരിക്കുന്നത്? ഫിനാൻഷ്യൽ സ്റ്റേറ്റ്മെന്റ് എന്ന് പറഞ്ഞാൽ ഒന്നെങ്കിൽ ഒരു P&L അത് ഫോർ പ്രോഫിറ്റ് വെഞ്ചർ ആണെങ്കിൽ, ഇനി നോൺ പ്രോഫിറ്റ് വെഞ്ചർ ആണെങ്കിൽ ഇൻകം ആൻഡ് എക്സ്പെൻഡിച്ചർ അക്കൗണ്ട്. Excuse me, like the same, both are the same, but in profit concerns generating profit, here not for generating profit, in order to get the income as well as the expenditure position. So that is the first case, statement of profit, P&L statement. Then second is balance sheet at the end of the financial year. Balance sheet at the end of the financial year. ഇതൊക്കെയാണ് ഫിനാൻഷ്യൽ സ്റ്റേറ്റ്മെന്റ് കൊണ്ട് ഉദ്ദേശിക്കുന്നത്. So according to section 240 of the Companies Act states that financial statement in relation to a company includes the statement of profit or loss in case of a company carrying on any activity not for profit, then an income and expenditure account for a financial year is to be prepared. So profit venture ആണെങ്കിൽ P&L account, P&L statement of profit and loss, non profit venture ആണെങ്കിൽ income and expenditure account. ഇനി balance sheet, പിന്നെയോ cash flow statement, then statement of changes in equity if applicable. Equity means the share നകത്ത് എന്തൊക്കെ ചേഞ്ച് വരുന്നുണ്ട്, പിന്നെയോ explanatory notes annexed or forming part of any document referred in subclause, that is 1 to subclause 4. So these are the items that is to be complied with the financial statement. So what are its financial statement in relation to a company includes the statement of profit or loss, or in case the company is not for a profit venture or the concern is for service, then in such a case an income and expenditure account need to be prepared, then a balance sheet need to be prepared for the financial year, then a cash flow statement should be prepared for the financial year, and the statement of changes in equity if applicable, and the explanatory note annexed to or forming part of any document referred to in subclause 1 to subclause 4. So this is the case with regard to Companies Act section 240 of the Companies Act 2013. See in the screen the what is that form for statement of profit and loss. See, revenue from operations, other income, total revenue 1 plus 2 means first and second item, total revenue we will get it. Then the expenses, cost of material consumed, purchase of stock in trade, changes in inventories of finished goods, work in progress and stock in trade, employee benefit expenses, financial cost, depreciation and amortization expense, other expenses. So altogether the expense part. Then profit or loss before exceptional and extraordinary items and taxes means the total revenue minus what is that? The total expense. That is the difference between expenditure and income, or revenue and expenses. So we will get the profit, otherwise loss. Isn't it? അപ്പം ആദ്യം നമ്മൾ റവന്യൂ ഫ്രം ഓപ്പറേഷൻ എഴുതി, അതിന്റെ കൂടെ അതർ ഇൻകം ആഡ് ചെയ്തു. അപ്പം എന്ത് കിട്ടി? അതർ ഇൻകവും റവന്യൂ ഫ്രം ഓപ്പറേഷനും രണ്ടും കൂടെ ആഡ് ചെയ്ത ടോട്ടൽ റവന്യൂ കിട്ടും. ആ ടോട്ടൽ റവന്യൂവിന്റെ താഴെ എക്സ്പെൻസ് എഴുതി, ടോട്ടൽ എക്സ്പെൻസ് എടുത്ത് രണ്ടും തമ്മിലുള്ള ഡിഫറൻസ് എടുത്താൽ പ്രോഫിറ്റ് ഓർ ലോസ് കിട്ടും. ഇനി after extraordinary items and taxes before, so we need to deduct the tax later. So before that, some exceptional items are there. Then profit and loss before extraordinary items and tax, that is 5 minus 6. Then we will get extraordinary the profit or loss before extraordinary items and tax. Then there is extraordinary items are there. Then profit before tax only remaining, because we are taking that into consideration. So profit before tax, so the 7th item minus 8th item, so that is the profit or loss before tax. Then tax expenses are there, current tax and deferred tax. Then profit or loss for the period from the continuing operation, that is 9 minus 10, and then we will get profit or loss from the discontinuing operation and the tax expenses of discontinuing operation. Then the profit or loss from discontinuing operation after tax, that is 12 minus 13, and then finally profit or loss for the year, that is $11 plus 14. 11 item is what? Profit or loss for the period from the continuing operation, plus 14. 14 is the profit or loss from discontinuing. That two together added, so the entire profit we received. And then the last item is earnings per equity share, that is basic as well as diluted. So we will check the problem part. At that time you will see more easier than this. Then next is general instructions for preparation of statement of profit and loss. That is, there is the general instruction for that. So in continuation with that, the general instructions for preparation of statement of profit or loss. The provisions of this part shall apply to the income and expenditure account that referred in the subsection 2 of the section 210 of the Act in the manner like that apply to the statement of affairs or statement of profit or loss. In respect of a company other than a finance company, the revenue from the operation shall disclose separately in the notes revenue from the sale of product, the sale of services and other operating revenues, less the excise duty. And in case in respect of a finance company, the revenue from operation shall include revenue from interest and other financial services. The revenue under each of the above heads shall be disclosed separately by way of the notes to the accounts to the extent applicable. അതാണ് ഇതിനകത്ത് ഓർക്കേണ്ടത്. ഇത് നമ്മൾ നേരത്തെ കണ്ടിരിക്കുന്ന പോലത്തെ പി ആൻഡ് അക്കൗണ്ട് സാധാരണ പാർട്ട്ണർഷിപ്പിന്റെയോ അല്ലെങ്കിൽ മറ്റ് ഇത് പഠിച്ചിട്ടുണ്ടല്ലോ അതിന്റെ പോലെ എഴുതാനല്ല. ഇതിനകത്ത് മെയിൻ കണ്ടന്റ് മാത്രം. ഇപ്പം ഷെഡ്യൂൾ നമ്പർ 1 അതിനകത്ത് എന്ത് എക്സ്പെൻഡിച്ചർ മാത്രം, അതിന്റെ വർക്കിംഗ് നോട്ട്സ് എല്ലാം നോട്ട്സ് ടു അക്കൗണ്ട്സ് എന്നുള്ള ആ ഒരു പോർഷനിലാണ് എഴുതുന്നത്. ആ രീതിയിലാണ് ഇതിന്റെ സ്റ്റേറ്റ്മെന്റ് ഓഫ് പ്രോഫിറ്റ് ആൻഡ് ലോസ് എഴുതേണ്ടത്. ദെൻ അതിന്റെ കാര്യമാണ് ഇവിടെ പറഞ്ഞിരിക്കുന്നത്. ഫിനാൻസ് കോസ്റ്റ് ദാറ്റ് ഇൻക്ലൂഡ്സ് interest expense, other borrowing cost applicable, net gain or loss on the foreign currency transactions and translation. Then other income, like other income shall be classified as interest income, dividend income, net gain or loss on sale of investment and other non-operating incomes, etc. Pinne additional information like a company shall disclose by way of the notes additional information regarding aggregate expenditure and income on the following items like employee benefit expense showing separately as salaries and wages, contribution to the provident and other funds, expenses on employee stock option scheme, employee stock purchase plan, staff welfare expense. അങ്ങനെ employee related ഇതെല്ലാം separate ആയിട്ട് എഴുതണം income and expenditure account. Okay, then depreciation and amortization expense, any items of income or expenditure that exceeds 1% of the revenue from operation or 1 lakh rupees, whichever is higher. Then interest income, interest expense, dividend income, net gain or loss on sale of investment, adjustment to be carrying for the amount of investment, net gain or loss on foreign currency transaction and translation, other than considered as finance cost, payments to the auditor, such as auditor for taxation matters, for company law matters, for management services, for other services, for reimbursement of expenses, etc. Details of items of exceptional and extraordinary nature, prior period items, മുന്നേ പേ ചെയ്യാനായിട്ടുള്ള അല്ലെങ്കിൽ മുന്നേ കിട്ടാനായിട്ടുള്ള അല്ലെ എക്സ്പെൻഡിച്ചർ, അതാണ് പറഞ്ഞത് ഈ കേസിൽ എക്സ്പെൻഡിച്ചർ ഓഫ് ഇൻകം ആൻഡ് എക്സ്പെൻഡിച്ചർ അക്കൗണ്ടിനകത്ത് വരുന്ന കേസാണ് പറയുന്നത്. പിന്നെ in the case of manufacturing companies where raw materials under the broad heads, goods purchased under the broad heads, and in the case of trading companies, the purchases in respect of the goods traded in by the company under the broad heads. Then ഇതൊക്കെയാണ് അതിന്റെ എക്സ്ട്രാ ഐറ്റംസ് വരുന്നത്. പിന്നെ in the case of companies rendering or supplying the services, gross income derived from the services rendered or supplied under broad heads. In the case of a company that falls under more than one of the categories mentioned in A, B and C above, ഈ മുന്നേ പറഞ്ഞ ഈ മൂന്ന് കാര്യങ്ങളിൽ മെൻഷൻ ചെയ്തിരിക്കുന്നതായ വരുന്നതായ കേസുകൾ, it shall be sufficient compliance with the requirements herein if purchases, sale and consumption of the raw materials and the gross income from services rendered is shown under the broad heads. And excuse me, in the case of all concerns having work in progress, then the work in progress under broad heads. Then fourth case, under that A, aggregate if material of any amount set aside or proposed to be set aside to reserve, but not including the provisions made to meet any specific liability, contingency or commitment not to exist at the date as to which the balance sheet is made up. Then the aggregate if material of any amount withdrawn from such reserves. Then the aggregate if material of the amount set aside to the provisions made for meeting specific liability, contingency or the commitments. Then the aggregate if material of the amounts withdrawn from such provisions as no longer required. Then expenditure incurred on each of the following items separately for each items, like consumption of stores and spare parts, power and fuel, rent, repairs to building, repairs to machinery, insurance, rates and tax excluding tax on income, miscellaneous expenses. Then dividends from subsidiary companies. Then provision for losses of subsidiary companies, like that. Then the profit and loss account shall now also contain by way of a note the following information, namely value of the imports calculated on the CIF cost and insurance and freight. That is CIF basis by the company during the financial year in respect of raw materials, components and spare parts and capital goods. Expenditure in foreign currency during the financial year on account of royalty, know-how, professional and consultation fees, interest and other matters. The total value if all imported raw materials, spare parts and the components consumed during the financial year, and the total value of all the indigenous raw materials, spare parts and the components similarly consumed and the percentage of each to the total consumption, like that. Then the amount remitted during the year in foreign currencies on account of the dividends with a specific mention of the total number of non-resident shareholders, the total number of the shares held by them on which dividends were due and the year to which the dividends related, and earnings in foreign exchange classified under the following heads as export of goods calculated on FOB basis, free on board, that is FOB. Then the royalty, its know-how and the professional and consultation fees, the interest and the dividend, other income including or indicating the nature therefore. So these are the things you need to be kept in mind while preparing what a profit and loss account or a statement of profit or loss. അപ്പോൾ അതാണ് ഓർക്കേണ്ടത്. ഇത് ഫൈനൽ അക്കൗണ്ട്സ് ഓഫ് കമ്പനിക്കകത്ത് നമ്മൾ അക്കൗണ്ട് ആയിട്ട് എഴുതത്തില്ല, പകരം സ്റ്റേറ്റ്മെന്റ് ആയിട്ടാണ് എല്ലാം എഴുതുന്നത്. ലൈക്ക് ബാലൻസ് ഷീറ്റ്, this is also a statement of profit or loss. So we will do one problem with the normal this one. So preparation of statement of profit or loss. You are required to prepare a statement of profit or loss. Under that, the particulars and the amount items are there. Revenue from operation, it is 1,24,000. So that is the starting one. Revenue from operation, revenue generated from operation. Cost of materials consumed 87,000. Cost of materials consumed 87,000. Then employee benefit expenses 5,000. Finance cost 6,000. Other income 1,000. Other expenses 500, and provision for tax required it is 28%. So how this is to be prepared? So this is the format. So before that, you need to check the format once again for this. See, revenue from operation, that is to be considered first. Then other income to be along with that, that is the second. Both that total, that is the total revenue. Then we are taking the expenses. After that, profit, total expenses, total revenue minus total expenses, that is what the profit or loss before exceptional and extraordinary item and items and taxes. Then we are taking the exceptional items, we are deducting from that, isn't it? So then occurs what? Extraordinary, exceptional got before tax. So now it is after tax, sorry, after exceptional item. Now, so profit before extraordinary and tax. Then we are taking extraordinary item. Then after that, we are taking the tax, and the final we get it, the profit. So in that way, this is the format. So you kept it in mind, this format. Then only you can do the problems with regard to the statement of profit or loss. So how it is to be calculated, we will check it. Statement of profit and loss. Under that, first item is what? There is an amount column, there is a particulars column, and we are putting the 1, 2, 3 like that items. So first item is revenue from operations. How much it is? 1,24,000. Okay. What I told you, firstly, all the incomes to be taken. So second item is other income is there, isn't it? 1000 other income on that. So total 1,25,000. Isn't it? So that is the total revenue. 1 plus 2. In this way only you need to do. Then this is the third item. Then the fourth item is total expenses column. Revenue from operation. Then cost of materials consumed. That is an expense, isn't it? So A, cost of materials consumed. So how much it is? 87,000. Then B, what is that? Employee benefit expenses. How much it is? 5,000. Then finance cost. Whatever the expenses that is to be taken here. Finance cost is 6,000. Then other expenses 500. So total of all expenses, that is A plus B plus C plus D, that is 87,000, 5,000, 6,500. How much? 6 plus 5, 11,500. 87 plus 10, 97 plus 1, 98,500. Isn't it? 98,500. Then, so total revenue we calculated, total expenses also we calculated. Then, next item is, what is that? This is for 5 is what? Profit before tax, because we are not deducting the tax here. So, net revenue is not calculated. Gross revenue is, gross profit is to be calculated. So, total revenue minus total expenses. So, that is what? 3 minus 4. That is 1,25,000 minus 98,500. It is 26,500. Okay. Then provision for tax is there, 28%. So 28% of what? 26,500. I think that one. 26,500. Yes, 7,420. So less, that is the sixth item, less tax or not, less provision for tax. How much it is? 7,420. So profit after tax, PAT. So this is PBT and tax is to be deducted, then PAT, that is how much? 26,500 minus 7,430, it is 19,080. So this is the way we are preparing what? The statement of profit and loss in case of the final accounts of company. So once again, revenue from operation that is given in the question, other income is there, that is to be added along with that. Other income should be added, that is the total revenue 1 plus 2. First item plus second item, so the third item we got it. Then the total of all the expenses we taken, and then take the difference, so that is the profit before tax. Then we deducted the tax, and then we get the profit after the tax. So this is the way we are calculating the statement of affairs. So this much only I am taking today. So please have a look at today's topics and please do it like the same type of problem. This is very important for 5 marks questions. That is how to prepare a statement of profit and loss, and also what are the things that is to be considered at the time of preparing the statement of profit and loss. So we will see in the next class more problems also, and please have a look at the today's videos and or after uploading. So please have a look and please clear the doubts as a, and also if you see the video, then message me that I saw the video and I have if there is any doubt, please clear. So for this session, I'm going to winding up. Thank you for